did an agenda.
Okay.
So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call. Jean, please notice Shelley is absent. Attest to publication.
Yep,
I saw it on the website.
I did too. Thank you. All right, Guy, all yours.
All right. Well, the very first thing that I want to do is shout out a thank you to John and Jean and Jody. They have been excellent resources to work with. And the other night, as the Zoom invitation started coming in from John, it was like they weren't going to stop. But we got through all of the focus groups, finished the last of them this afternoon. So after supper and before this, I was kind of trying to compile some of those results so that I can share a little bit of feedback back with you once we get done with your focus group. You are the final group, and once again, I'll ask you the same questions I've asked of everyone else, and then we'll go through a couple of other things. I was going to talk about focus group results, talk a little bit about essay questions, share some information on what we've got put together on a brochure, and so we'll do those things when we get done with the focus group questions. So I'm going to just bring the questions up, and I'll be recording, so I won't see you, but I'll certainly hear you. And we'll just have to kind of let somebody talk and then somebody else try to talk, and hopefully we won't talk over one another. So starting out with the first question, what is unique or special about the Bangor School District?
I think our mission statement says it well. We're a small school. Our goal is to build big futures. I think we have small class sizes. I think we strive to hire excellent teachers and excellent support staff.
I would say the community support, both academically and athletically, sets us apart.
All co-curricular activities.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of turnout at the sporting events, but just as much at the musicals, the Harvest Fest, the Christmas concerts have packed houses.
I would add that something that I think is unique about Bangor is we're the smallest school in La Crosse County, and that sounds silly, but we really are. We're surrounded by a bunch of big schools. And, you know, as we've been learning through the pandemic and everything else, that we are not the same, but we are a small school surrounded by big schools.
And I think Lori hit it, community support. And I think any administrator that lives here and partakes in the community will feel that. Our community really likes an administrator who's part of the community. And I think that that's a strength. And then our community will support back to the school.
Okay. We've got a lot of good things. Anything else to add on that one, or I'm going to move to the next question. And we can circle back on any of these. That's what we've done. Second question, what are the challenges facing the district?
Well, we always have a referendum. So, well, I shouldn't say always. In the past couple of decades, we've relied on a referendum every 3 years. And we never can take that for granted that that's going to pass. Because if it doesn't, our programs, our educational goals and accomplishments would be affected.
Mm-hmm.
I think a challenge that's relatively new to us is 10 years ago, I would have told you that one of our big challenges was declining enrollment. And I think we've kind of turned the corner on that. And if anything, a new challenge on the horizon might be space limitations. If we're seeing big classes coming in at the very young ages, and I think that's something that should be on the radar of the board and the next superintendent, that declining enrollment is no longer the enemy. Now we have to start preparing for what we've all been thinking has been coming forever.
Good point.
Yeah, excellent, Paul. That's exactly right.
Okay. Other challenges?
I think we talked about being the smallest and we still compete with the bigger schools around us. So giving the programs that we need to keep students here and interested in staying here versus going to another school in Unalaska or La Crosse that may offer different things. I think we have to keep up with the things that we're offering to our students.
Okay.
Guy, going back to our, what's the strength, a parent just pointed out to us or complimented us that we are very supportive of the, oh no, the thing escapes me, of like our music, our tech ed, our business, what's all that called, you guys?
Well, some of it is fine arts.
Yeah, and tech ed, and we have, we're able to offer art and tech ed. We have a strong tech ed program. And
Career and technical education,
yeah,
Julie, is that
that's
what you're
the
looking
word.
for?
The business, yeah, technical education. I know some of our small schools right conference struggle with that, with tech ed and, keeping that alive, and FFA, the agriculture. And we've made alterations over the years, but I think that's still really strong here.
Okay.
And that's important because many of our students are not a four-year college bound, but they can get a technical education. And I think Bangor has good support of that.
All right.
Sorry, I went backwards already.
That's okay. No. It's fine.
Another point I would make, and I'm not trying to be judgmental here, or don't know specifically if it's a challenge, but we toe this line all the time between being a small farm community, but we're 10 minutes from Target. So we always have to walk that line, meaning we're property rich in our district with farmland and things like that. We're not a resort community by any means. So we always have to be cognizant of the fact that even though, not 90% of our kids are coming out of the barn anymore, doing chores in the morning, we're still a relatively rural farming community, and we've got to be respectful of that. The reason I bring that up is not that everyone isn't sensitive about taxes, but it's more so, I believe, in a community like in a district like this, where there are fewer payers concentrating the burden on bigger parcels of land. So I think we just have to be cognizant of the fact that we are on both sides of that line. I don't know how you word that. And I'm sorry if I'm getting long-winded.
Well, our taxpayer base is rural, really, per se.
That may be the best way to say
And again,
it.
that in and of itself isn't a negative, but it's a reality.
It's a reality.
And
it's
a new superintendent is going to have to be cognizant of that.
Mhm. Yep. I'm just going to put it down as a rural taxpayer base. I think that identifies it quite well.
Okay. Sounds good.
That was a good thought, Julie. Other challenges. All right, let's go on to the next question, which is kind of my Christmas wish list question. And I always tell people, don't be concerned about fiscal on this, but if you can improve one thing about the district, what would it be? What's your wish? Sky's the limit.
Course offerings. What I mean by that is in the district our size, a middle school, high school kid, there's only 8 hours. There's only so many periods in a day, and kids want to do everything.
Mhm.
But I always use the example: if you're in band and choir, then you're likely not going to be able to do art, or if you're in ag and tech ed, you're not going to be able to play in the band and things like that. And that's I don't know that that's unique to a small school, but because part of it's scheduling, but the offerings are limited. I mean, that's just a fact of life. The course offerings are limited.
Yep. So I put down expanded course offerings would be one wish. Others?
That was mine, Paul.
I say, when my kids, big issue.
I agree with Paul too.
Um,
I
I
didn't study.
think,
Yes.
yeah, I think one thing I would like to see more, how do I'll say it and then I don't know, we need to rephrase it, but I'd like to see us have more technology offerings for everyone, meaning, you know, because we are rural, sometimes we don't have, some kids don't have the same ability to have, you know, good internet or whatever. I wish we could level the playing field on that, so to speak. Just an initial thought.
I put 2 thoughts down on that. I put down more technology offerings for everyone, and then I put down equitable access to technology.
Perfect. Tony, were you? No,
Nothing real. I mean,
I thought you were gonna, I thought you started to talk.
nope.
More space would be great. I mean, Paul talked about, you know, the class sizes getting bigger and, you know, with us being forced lately with, you know, having to figure out what 6 feet apart means to everybody. You know, I think at some point, if we keep growing like we are, you know, what does that look like? Is it, you know, is it the modular little things? I don't know if you guys had those, but where I went to high school, we had like module little areas that they held classes in and stuff like that, you know, or so, I mean, more space might be one thing.
We had a room down at the elementary building forever.
Yep. What else is on the wish list? Okay, I'm going to move to the next.
One last, what are the parameters around this question, Guy? Because I would like to see a fine arts center. That's pie in the sky, but I would like to see a fine arts auditorium.
Well, that's that you know.
He said the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. I've got somebody else that would like to have a community wellness center in the school.
Yeah.
So, or a community fitness center in the school. So sky's the limit. I mean, we're just you know, saying if we could. How about this question here? What do you think are some changes that might face either the school district or the community in the next 3 to 5 years? Changes, positive, negative, just changes.
Well, I think this crazy pandemic is going to change a lot of things eventually. I mean, we're gonna reevaluate how we do some things. I mean, if it's as simple as, you know, delivery or time off or whatever, I just think the school, just like a lot of businesses, are reevaluating how things get done.
There's no
Education,
question.
business, healthcare, all is being reevaluated. Exactly, Joni.
Yeah, there is going to be a new normal, but it's not going to be the normal we were used to.
And that may be a challenge because of our size and where we are. I also think, you know, we have another housing addition. So I'm hoping that we have families that build there. And I'm thinking that again will challenge our size, our school, or, you know, our capacity.
I think a big challenge that we're looking at is, and all of these things kind of roll into it, is the unpredictability of the future. And what I mean by that is there was a time where a school district had a captive audience. They lived within your borders and you counted heads and you know what the budget was. With basically year-round open enrollment now, with the divisiveness in our state and national politics, and the emphasis, you know, on the financial side of things, I think unpredictability in the budgeting process is a challenge.
Yep.
Where it used to be pretty straightforward.
I think you're 100% on target.
And Paul said it, the unknown, because the government, it is so indecisive and can be destructive on education.
Mhm.
It's the unknown. Nicely stated, Paul.
Any other key changes? We've got down, we may need to reevaluate how we do things. We got a new housing addition in the community, more unpredictable future, the unknown. All right, I'm going to move to the next question. And again, we can circle back, but what do you think are some strengths or skills that our next superintendent should possess?
Flexibility.
Ability, think so?
Well, because of our size, our super all of our admin, they wear more than one hat. I mean, and that's either a plus or a minus, but obviously have to be prepared to be more than just the super.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Time management skills, because as Joni said, all those different hats, and that's pretty basic, but I hear other administrators and the assistants that they have. We don't have that. We don't have a transportation person. We don't have all of that whole list. So flexibility, time management, multiple skill set.
I think the next superintendent is going to have to be skilled in public relations. And what I mean by that is in our community, the school is the center of the community and the superintendent is the head of the school. And I think that person has to be excellent at public relations, again, because you are it in Bangor. You're that person, and you've got to be relatable. You've got to be visible. Julie talked about this earlier. We used to joke when we'd get a new superintendent to say, join a church, join a Lions Club, and show up downtown, and you'll be fine. And I mean, there's still something to that. You've got to be visible and active in the community.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say, just kind of to go along with public relations, is those communication skills, knowing from how to communicate with students, administrators, teachers, support staff, the community as a whole. I think just some clear, concise communication.
Got it.
Forward thinking, progression, student centered.
I agree with all these, but I also think that they need to know a lot about the finances and what our building's going to need and going forward. I mean, a school is a lot like a business in a way where you have to make sure that you're covering all of the things, and there's a lot of things that need to be done between staff and benefits and upgrades and changes. And so I think our budget and our financials is an important skill.
Agree.
Okay. We're getting quite a nice little list here of things. Okay, let's go to this question here. It's kind of a two-part, but I mean, what are you looking at as like short-term expectations, like in that first year for your new superintendent, and then maybe some longer-term things. So, what do you want that person to make the priority right away when he or she takes over?
I think relationship building needs to be a key one. As they start, developing the relationships with, people in the community, whether that be business people, because I think with the school being the center, it is a business and we have to work well with those, business entrepreneurs. They provide us with a lot of, gives to the school, whether it be, in donations or whatever. So developing those relationships, developing the relationships with the teachers and support staff, parents, as well as, the admin team, too. So I think developing those relationships and kind of setting, what their expectations are of those people is important in that initial first year.
I'm looking for continuity, and what I mean by that is the new person comes in, the new person will be in charge, and the new person is going to have new ideas and so on. But I hope it's not such an abrupt change that it causes chaos. You know what I mean? Let's hope we lock someone in for a long time and that we don't have to do this again. But I hope there's some attention paid to the value of continuity to adjust and assimilate and adjust rather than come in and throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Well stated.
And that is very important in our school historically, to that concept that Paul talked about.
Mhm.
Very important.
But sorry to belabor it, but there's a fine line too, and this isn't the most correct thing to say either, but what we don't want and what we can't have is someone come in and sit down and start coasting. This is my opinion. I hope we don't have someone who sees Bangor as an approach to their landing strip of retirement. Back to the visionary comment. We need someone with vision and someone forward thinking, but at the same time, it can't be a total disruption of.
Mhm. Yep. Okay. Anything else to add on that one? You got a lot of good thoughts there. Let's go to this one. I'm going to ask you to put on your marketing hats right now, and tell me some of the selling points of the school district and the community. What's going to cause somebody to say, yeah, that's where I want to work. I want to come to Bangor.
I would say it starts with the professional staff and the facilities. I think those are two shining stars.
Yeah, we have a great campus.
You really do.
We have a
Beautiful.
beautiful campus. And I agree with Paul. I think we have excellent teachers. Our student achievement, our teachers have supported that along with our administration.
Okay.
I think Bangor would be a great place to come and work.
That's the message we need to get out.
Well, it's a small community, it's hometown and the school is the center of the community. Some individuals like that, some individuals may not actually, but.
No, but it's the reality of small communities. In a small community, schools tend to be the heart of it. They tend to be the heartbeat.
Community is supportive of the school. I know that that's not true everywhere.
Other selling points, school or the community?
Ten minutes to Target.
Yeah, and that is
I mean,
like
we're
compared to an
rural, but we're not 3 counties away from a shopping center, so we're 10 minutes away from.
Location.
Yep, there you go.
It's true.
Yep.
People look at that.
I've had people say, "Oh, yeah, I got to come all the way to Bangor." I'm like, it's not that far from any place.
By the time you set your cruise control, you're here.
Yeah.
Other selling points.
I mean, we've talked about community, but community pride is pretty high. I mean, this year has been rough on that, but if you're a Bangor Cardinal, people know it, I think. So I think there's a lot of pride.
No question.
I think our quality staff, if you look at our teachers, we have teachers that have been here for multiple years, and I think that speaks volumes.
So maybe we should talk, obviously it's quality, but we would say staff retention has been positive.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. That's
Yeah,
a good one, Tina.
Tina, excellent, exactly.
Okay. Yep.
We have had teachers here for years that have had offers to go other places and they stay.
And that speaks pretty highly because yes, part of it is people want to be paid well, but they also want to be treated well.
Yep.
And sometimes a little less money is okay as long as the climate is so good that they just say, but I still want to stay, or I want to raise my kids here.
And I think that
for our class sizes too. So, I mean, if you're in a school district of the size too, I think those two are key selling points for an interested candidate.
I think our staff has collegiality. Many teachers say because of the people I work with and our students, that's why I stay.
Mhm. Okay, I have one final question. And this is getting a little ahead of the game because we haven't even seen a single application yet, but what advice would you like to give the new superintendent?
Kind of rolls into some of the other questions we've had, but
It kind of does, but you know, and the interesting thing about this, I would encourage you when we get this all done with and we get the report all put together, when you get your new superintendent on board, give them a copy of this. Give him or her a copy of it and let them spend some time with it.
Build relationships. Be involved in the community.
I would say don't be afraid to be the leader, and know that historically we've been very supportive of one another, meaning the board, the administration, the community. There's been very little divisiveness, and as the leader, know that you're going to have the support of not only the school board but your staff and your community, as long as you're doing X, Y, and Z. Everything's on, you know. If you're doing the job you're hired to do, rest assured that we will have your back. So don't be afraid to be a leader.
I think my advice would be present, be visible, be there. It's a lot easier for people to approach someone that's there versus calling or emailing. So the more things that they're at and the more visibility, I think the easier it is to build those relationships, and not just with our community, but with our students and our staff and everyone.
Yeah.
We talk about community, but our students are key too, you know, and they're going to have to be present there too, because they set the mood along with the community.
Yeah, Tina brings up a good point. Get to know our students. Kids that all three of my kids went here, and they've known some administrators better than others. I'm just going to put it out there. They have. So, and it was important to them that they knew who kind of the leader of the school was. So great point, Tina.
If I can digress for just a minute, I'll tell you, when I was up at Blair Taylor one day, my wife and I were walking down the hall in the school, and a couple of young kids came by. They're probably third or fourth grade. And one of them said, "Hi, Mr. Levitt," and you know, and I said hello, and we walked by him, and the other kid says, "Well, do you know them?" He said, "Yeah, it's Mr. and Mrs. Levitt. They own the place." Oh, I'll never forget that.
That's cute.
Anything else? Any other advice for the new superintendent? All right. Any other?
I will. Sorry.
No.
I know it's a bit redundant, but this one keeps me up at night. This will be the fifth superintendent I've been involved with over the years here in Bangor. And again, I know you can't, there's questions you can't ask and there's things you can't say, and you're certainly not going to discriminate, but the advice I would, again, whether it's given advice or to the new super or it's to the board, is we just, you know, we need someone who is, again, I use the analogy of the airport, someone whose trajectory is going up, taking off, and not coming in for a landing. And sometimes you don't know that's going to happen, but there have been those in the past who I can't help but feel we were just that. We were just padding a couple of years of their retirement fund, and the school didn't get the best for their buck on that one. So I don't know, again, you can't ask that, but this is just a precautionary tale, I guess, is we've got to be diligent to find someone who's in this for the long haul, who's forward thinking, and who is got the best interest of the district in mind first.
Okay, I put down two things there that might capture that. One, not a retirement job. Two, not a stepping stone.
Yeah, I didn't want to go so far as to say stepping stone, but that's always a danger too.
Yeah.
It is.
It's something that certainly can be put out there, because all we're doing is we're capturing people's thoughts on this, and frankly, no district wants somebody who's looking at them as a stepping stone.
Right, but being a small school, we're more susceptible to that than some of the larger ones. I think that's pretty foregone conclusion.
It can happen, though there's a lot of people out there that just prefer rural. I happen to be one of those people that when I went through my career, I liked working in rural schools, and I didn't have a desire to get into a large system.
The one thing that I'd like to add, and you guys have all heard this, you've probably heard me say it. I would advise, don't ever settle for being good. Go for great. Because what stands in the way of being great is settling for being good. And I think in the past, years ago, we did settle just for being good, and we did not go for great. And I think that's changed in Bangor, and I want that to continue.
Okay. All right. Any other comments anywhere along the line? Otherwise, what I'll do is I will save this, and I'll give you a little bit of feedback, just a quick rundown of kind of what I've heard from some of the other groups. And this isn't going to be a complete listing, but I'll just give you some of the highlights. Things about that others had to say about being special or unique: rural, great academic programs, excellent athletic programs, fiscally sound, technology resources, location, very caring community. It's just some of the things. Challenges: communication, particularly during COVID times. Lack of daycare in the community. Space is getting tight in the buildings. Lack of subs. And there they talked about lack of subs for teachers, for support staff, for bus drivers. Retaining part-time staff. We wear many hats. Compensation schedule inequities. Staff retention. Those are some of the challenges that I gleaned out. Kind of a wish list. Improved communications. Social and emotional learning supports for kids. A fitness center. Continued support of PLC process, your professional learning community process. Maintain quality staff. Community daycare center. Expanded course offerings. Things on the wish list. Some of the key changes: pass a referendum, positive open enrollment. Right now, basically, it sounds like you're trending kind of even right now, but moving toward positive. What else did I see here? Need for more classrooms. Keep technology updated. Housing expansion in the district. Competition to retain staff, because of the fact you're surrounded by a lot of larger districts. Some strengths and skills. Well, looking for a good communicator. Be a listener. Be empathetic. Flexibility. Servant leader. Thoughtful and deliberate. Be visible. Be approachable. Push us to be better. Short or long-term expectations. Get students back in the buildings. Take time to understand what we do well. Listening sessions. Keep the PLC process going. Look at our facilities needs. Understand and support technology. Build relationships. Some of the selling points. This one came up time after time after time. Bangor pride. Capitals. Everyone matters. School is the heart of the community. Excellent community support. Great technology. Housing affordability. Great place to live. rural but not isolated, good academics, active civic groups. And some of the advice for the superintendent: come and visit our classrooms. We have great staff. Be a part of our community. Get to know us. Be ethical and professional. Focus on staff retention. Be transparent. Make decisions strategically. Be willing to make the hard decisions. Listen. Those are some of the things that I heard out of this, and realistically, I will pull those together into a report that I'll get shared back with the board. I'll work on that probably over the weekend. As a result of that, I'm kind of looking at essay questions, and that was one of the things we were going to talk about tonight, was what do we want to use for essay questions. I propose that we create one essay question that talks about or that has a candidate talk about their experience with professional learning communities. That's something that I heard over and over again in the groups. I think people like what's happening. I think they, even though it's hard to implement PLCs in a small school, they like the effort that's being made, and they really feel it's helping their collegiality as a staff. So I think we ought to do a question on professional learning communities. I think we need to do a question on communications, because in virtually every group I talked with, communications came up at different times during the conversation, and that communications has particularly been in the forefront because of the pandemic right now, and that's not unique to Bangor. That's happening not only across the state; it's happening across the country. And but clearly, hearing somebody's ideas on ways that they've communicated, or maybe even how have they communicated and been transparent, during this pandemic, might be a good question to ask somebody, something along that line. And at a possible third question, and again, we don't need to use these questions because you may have other questions you would want to use, but a third question might be because they want somebody that understands rural and understands what small communities are about and understands about wearing multiple hats and stuff. Maybe we'd want to ask a question as simple as, tell us why you'd be a good fit for Bangor. That's some ideas that I've gotten out of the focus groups. What thoughts have you got?
I like your third one, Guy, just because mine was going to be something around the fact, what makes you unique, or what do you bring to the table that would be advantageous in Bangor, from that perspective. So I like that last question, so that they can talk a little bit about them. And that's kind of was going to be my suggestion, is what's unique about them, what's special about them that the Bangor community would have if they selected them as the candidate.
Okay.
I think if we do the communication one, I would like to kind of add into that how they're going to be involved in the community, or how they're going to not just communicate, but how are they going to interact with all of our students and our teachers and our community. How are they going to be visible and present and be able to communicate? How are they going to be able to do that?
Okay. Other thoughts?
I like those questions. I think, again, the first one, the PLC, is obviously a important topic to a lot of people. The communication, like you said, you've heard from all different sides, so we certainly should use that as a point of discussion. So I like the questions you proposed.
And again, I'll get them drafted and put them. Any other thoughts though on them? Anything else that we'd like to?
I think they captured the themes.
Okay. All right, I have not got the qualifications written yet, but I will, and I will send them to you, but I will do a share screen with you right now. And I'll also send you this after we get done with our meeting, but, oh, shoot, host disabled screen sharing. Come on, John.
He's still on. John,
Normally do.
Is he still?
John, can you enable,
There you
I did. I
Oh.
got it.
Thank you.
I turned.
I was hoping you were still there somewhere.
It's always in the background.
That's
Yeah.
good.
It should be. You should be able to. There you go. Okay.
Okay. All right. Are you seeing this?
Yes.
This is what Sally has put together so far on a brochure. Obviously, she grabbed your logo, talks some statistics about the district. Here's information about the district. Now, this is information that Jody and Jean worked with staff and administrative staff on pulling some things together. So this is information about the district. Goals for 2021, referendum status, extracurricular options, academic related activities, music activities, some things about your music association accreditation, the athletic programming that's offered in the district, and maybe a little byline saying that you've earned a couple of conference championships over the years. Then we go to a page that talks about the community. You're nestled amid the Cooley region with parks, hiking locations, tourist attractions, river towns, lakes, various festivals and celebrations. You've got the La Crosse River State Trail nearby. Talk about Bangor Fun Days, Rockland Days. Your summer celebrations, including chicken queues and Independence Day events. We list some related websites for the Village of Bangor, Village of Rockland, La Crosse County, Monroe County. Got your mission statement, your vision statement, your values, and some nice pictures of some beautiful facilities, which anybody's going to find attractive. And then here's where the candidate profile would get written in. So I'll get that written and get it filled in. And here is the application process. This would list the application deadline, the review of applications, when the interviews are going to be held, and of course the start date. And then just the requirements, search information, inquiries. Now, again, the requirements say candidates must hold or be eligible for Wisconsin superintendent licensure. That lets you cast the broadest net possible for potential candidates, because there will be some candidates coming through programs who may not have their license yet, but may be very viable candidates. And then, of course, the other thing that will get added will be the essay questions. So what I can do after tonight's meeting is I can send you this brochure so you can look it over. Tomorrow sometime I will send you the essay questions and the qualifications. And if anybody's got any questions on any of those, shoot an email back to me or give me a call, because Sally will work on getting this ready to go on Monday, because I think Monday is the day we're going to post the position, if I'm not mistaken, the 21st.
correct.
So,
Guy, what platforms, where will this be available? What platforms will you use?
well, this is what we do is we have an electronic application platform. So this will be on that
Okay.
for people to see. So if they go in and they decide they want to apply, this information is going to be there for them to look at.
Through WASBA.
WSB. Yep.
Okay.
However, in terms of, we are going to be posting this through all of the public and private universities in Wisconsin. We'll be posting it in neighboring states. We'll be posting it nationally, but realistically on those postings, it tells them, if you're interested, go to the WSB site and all the electronic application materials are there. So everything directs them to this, and this will be available when they go in to apply.
Okay,
Right where you were on that one page, I'm going to be kind of picky. So if you go back to that page, it says about Bangor community. One thing I think we need to stay focused on too is we have like Burns and Rockland and you know, different places. So it may come down a little bit. So not so much maybe the Bangor school district community or maybe something in that regard, but there's multiple things to make us one. You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about all the municipalities, right, Tina?
Yeah.
Rather than just Bangor and
Red,
Rockland.
it just
like-
says Bangor, and I
Oh.
think
Yeah, it says right here within the village, the first paragraph, last sentence.
nope, right
I
on
think-
top it's red, Bangor community.
Bangor community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think there's, and this is kind of a deep rooted thing. A lot of times we just talk about Bangor because that's where the school is, but these other communities sometimes feel like that's not, they're not being part of it. So if we could put that about the Bangor school district community or something, maybe about,
yeah,
just another way of wording it. Because it is
Probably.
more than just the community of Bangor.
right.
All right.
Oh,
So
good point.
we want to modify that, and it could just be,
It could be just Bangor school district community. That would be fine too. But I
Yes,
No, you're right, Tina.
It implies no Rockland, no Burns, and so on, no Middle Ridge.
I wonder how we want to say it.
How about just about the community?
Yeah. Or about the Bangor, like Tina said, about the Bangor school district community, or just
or
about the
just
community.
community, you know, the history of the community, or
The
you can
community, yeah.
just that's something that would have caught a lot of people, I think.
Another thing we could potentially put into there, if you wanted to, when you say about the community, how many different municipalities or townships have you got in your community?
7.
Should we list them
I
No,
think they are.
in the opening
Yeah.
line? The Bangor School District community consists of,
I thought they were listed. I thought I saw that.
I thought they were too, but I'm not, but let me look. It might be up in the, might be in the very beginning here.
Yeah, right there.
there. They are.
Farmington, Hamilton, Washington, villages of Bangor, Rockland Townships, yeah.
that's good.
Okay, so we've
So because they're spelled out there, I think we could just strike the Bangor from that heading on that other page and just talk about the community at large.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
say about the community.
all right.
Yeah.
That's what I'll tell Sally to do. And this is a PDF, so I can't change it right now, but I'm just making a note so that I can have Sally clean that up.
So there you'll say about the community.
About the community, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And again, once you've had a chance to look this over, you're looking at it on screen right now. I will send it to you tonight. Look it over. Give me any critical comments you got, because we can make some tweaks. And when you communicate with me on those things, include the other board members so that everybody knows what we're looking at. Because we want to make this this is part of our selling points on what's going to interest somebody in coming to Bangor. So good catch on that. That's good information.
Mhm.
Page 3. Okay. All right. So if you're okay with that, I will send you this.
Can you scroll down again?
I can. And these should be live links here.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. Where do you want to go to, Julie?
I just wanted to look at the end. So that you're gonna fill and then the last, okay.
Yep, the application process.
That's all, okay. I was thinking there was something else there. Okay, perfect.
And this is where they go. They click right here. This.
Yep.
The application process.
Okay, great.
So it's.
I thought I saw something else there. That's perfect. Okay,
Right. The Bangor District website is bangor.k12.wi. Yeah, it is. It's not bangor.net. It's,
no,
no, it's the K-12
Okay,
because
that's correct.
I'm looking at that.
yep, that's correct.
All right. Then I think we have got, so let me just check here. I'm gonna bring this up. Just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Community survey is posted. People have been taking that. Okay, I was going to share a mock-up of the electronic brochure. I've done that. Potential essay questions. I'm going to write the qualifications, and I was going to share them tonight, but I just didn't get them written. But I'm working on them. But I took the time after I got done with the last focus group this afternoon to kind of pull together some thoughts for tonight. But I'll get the qualifications written, and I will email them out to you, Julie, and then you can share them with the rest of the board. Will that work?
Absolutely.
All right. All right, and then we'll talk further about the process for second interviews. We can actually do that. Do we want to wait until we review applications? Or do we want to do something with that beforehand? Just in terms of what you're going to do for second interviews.
What does the board think? It doesn't matter to me.
Well, I guess we talked briefly about possibly bringing in more community members, and I really think by having the focus group and by having the community questionnaire, we are listening to them, and I just don't think bringing them in for an interview process is necessary. That's my opinion.
I agree with Joni. I've thought about that too.
Okay. That's just something you've got to look at. Now, I am going to have the district resource guide sent out to you in mid-January, and that'll have a lot of information in it. And I'll run through that the evening that we review applications. But I may send you some a kind of an edited list of potential first interview questions prior to that, so that you can kind of begin thinking about what you might want to use as questions. And we break our interview questions up into about 7 different categories and ask that you pick a couple of questions out of each category. So in that first interview, you kind of get a broad perspective. You know, you find out, is this, you know, do we have a people person here? Do they have good fiscal skills? Are they a communicator? What do they know about curriculum? We kind of try to get a couple questions in each area, so that when you get to the second interview, if you're going to bring people back, you might say, you know, they did really, really good on the fiscal questions, but I'm a little bit, I think they're a little shaky on curriculum. I want to ask more about curriculum of that person on the second interview. So, but anyway, I'll put some things together on that. All right, anything else there? Okay, I am going to. Let's see. Yeah, I should be able to close that and stop my share. Okay. Anything else that I've missed? All right. Like I said, I will pull things together, and once I've got the focus group report put together, I'll also send that out. But that'll probably be. I may work on it over the weekend, but we'll see how much energy I have. So sometimes I just
Curiosity for me. So we talked about the reviewing the applications.
Yes.
So if you have, I'm going to just go large numbers. Say you have 20 applications. Do we see all 20?
You will. And realistically, though, I'll tell you, normally we might see between 10 and 20 applicants. You know, sometimes it's 12 or 13, sometimes it's 16 or 17. You will see all of the completed applications, so you'll have that to look at. But when we go through to review the applications, I will be able to speak about each of those candidates. So we'll be able. So if you if there's something you need to know about a candidate, either that's really, really good or that you might have pause about, I'll hopefully know that information for you.
So that's what we do on February the 2nd, is so we will get all the applications ahead of time for us to personally review.
Yep,
Then
you'll
we
get
get there on the 2nd, and we will discuss those applications and see who we're going to interview on the 8th and the 10th.
correct. You will select the people you want to interview on the 2nd, and then I'll take care of calling those people and scheduling the interviews.
So when we get these applications, is it like before where you can rate them? So where you put them in your list of who you would like interviewed at first, or is that within our group on the 2nd?
Clarify that a little bit. You're saying,
I'm just wondering how they get listed. So like on the 2nd, how do you run that? Do we review them and then rank them personally and then send those back to you, or do we all just get together and talk about them on the 2nd?
I'll get together and we'll talk about them. And sometimes what we might do as a first cut on that, I might just say initially, sometimes we start by saying, who have you got as your top 3 candidates? That might be a first cut, and everybody might put that down, and we'll take a look at that and see what commonalities exist. And then we might also then look and say, who are 2 or 3 candidates that you really didn't have any interest in, and we might look for commonalities there. But we do some things to narrow the list down so that we aren't going to spend a lot of time talking about a candidate that nobody has any interest in hearing about.
So Tina, that's a great question, but I think whether the process is a formal one or informal on each of our own parts, I think just by default, by reading through them all, we're all going to come with a list in our mind already of our top 3 or 4, and there are probably going to be 2 or 3 that we just don't have any interest in. So, I
send you a rating sheet so you can do your own individual ratings on the candidates, and so you can have your own personal notes on what you like or dislike or what you'd like to know more about. Okay, and there again, the reason we want you to see all of the applications is that we're not hiring your superintendent. You are, and so if we were to come in and say, these are the people you ought to visit with, we're kind of taking over your process. We'll be willing to talk about the candidates you want, but we really want you to be knowledgeable about who you want to visit with.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that it's ultimately still us looking at these.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, I could say to you, these I think are the most 6 qualified candidates in my mind. But somebody who may not be in my top 6 might, in your mind, be the very best fit for Bangor. And at the end of the day, that's what you got to get. You want somebody who's got qualifications, but they've also got a fit. And you know the fit way better than I do because you're there. You're the board right now.
I just really wanted to make sure that we got to see them and prior to that meeting, so we had time to read.
You will see them in electronic format, so you'll have the opportunity, and it'll be a searchable PDF on them, so you'll be able to go through and look at things, so you can do kind of an apples to apples comparison.
Okay.
And again, the purpose of those essay questions is just to give you an opportunity to see how they present themselves in writing. So, but those will be.
When you send the information tomorrow to Julie, will you send on those requirements? Will we get to see what questions they're asked to answer and their essay, the whole application? We'll see the whole thing, correct?
What I will put together, I'm going to send it to you in pieces. I'm going to send you tonight the brochure that we've got at this point that doesn't have the qualifications in it. Once I get the qualifications written and once I get the essay questions written, I will send you those so that you'll have those to look at. And if everybody thinks those look good over the course of the weekend, then on Monday when Sally's back in the office, she will put the, she'll put the brochure together and put the qualifications into it. And then the essay questions are separate from the brochure, but they'll be part of the application process. So you will see all of that.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking for?
Is that understand, Tina? Understandable?
Really wanted to make sure that I was seeing the application prior to it being posted and all of it, the questions and the essays, and then our qualifications prior. I just want to review.
You will see it all before we get it finally posted on Monday.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. We didn't make too bad a time tonight. So.
Our did good.
All right. So as soon as I get off, I'm going to send the electronic brochure to you, Julie, and then I'll get to spend the rest of my evening starting to work on putting those questions together.
When did that survey end? The parent survey or the community survey? When did that community survey end?
I don't have the exact date on that, but it was going to be open for about 10 days. Jean would know because she posted it.
It's still on the website. I see it on the website.
The 22nd. We're keeping it open till the 22nd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
And realistically, then we'll just see what kind of feedback we get on that.
Any other questions for Guy at this point?
Just a comment that I don't know how we would do this without you. I can't imagine trying to put this all together, with everything else we have going on. I think this was a very good decision to do.
Good. I'm glad you're feeling that way. But yes, running a search by yourselves as a board is really a monumental task, and that's why we try to streamline the process and make it a little less painful for you, but still keep you very engaged in the process, because ultimately you do have to make the final decision.
Okay, thank you, Guy.
Thank you. Everybody have a great evening.
Thank you. Yep. I
Thanks.
ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Beach to it, Lord.
Yep, you got it, Paul. And Joni seconded, so we're good.
Okay. Motion made by Paul, seconded by Joni to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, or opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Great
Bye.
work.